Sriracha. Saucy. Give me the hot sauce.
We are in the mood for a great show. It is Tuesday evening, April 13th, as we record this show. Episode 24 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. The gang is all here. Southside Susie was working overtime, doing some electrical work. That was shocking, right?
Yeah, very shocking.
Yeah, again and again. She could barely get up.
I've got the cameras on, and I'm watching them to make sure that the house isn't burning down.
You should have seen her on Saturday, though, hanging these banners. How about those banners we put up?
Look at the banners, ladies and gentlemen.
Championship
America.
corner.
So, John, she said she's still sore from all the work you made her do over the weekend.
Well, because you weren't here. Well, the King tapped out, so it was just the three of us.
The King was doing some great videos. I think he was looking for some Emmys.
Listen, I was out, man.
Home Depot, I'm here, and she's up on the walls.
Yeah, I tried to get here. I tried to get here. You know what? I've been doing a lot of games lately, man. 4 games in 5 nights.
Golden Pipes.
The Golden Pipes is resting, and I had a little sinus infection, so I took the day off.
But the King is 100% tonight and ready to roll on Give Me the Hot Sauce, episode 24.
Dewey Evans.
You look back at some of the great number 24s in sports history. The Boston guy immediately going to Dewey Evans is like 24th on the list, but that's okay.
He's on that list.
He's on the list.
If you go, he's down. Yeah, he's not Manny or Rick Barry.
Is he over Willie Mays?
No, of course. Come on.
Ken Griffey Jr. maybe?
19 seasons, 8 Gold Gloves.
Barry Bonds.
385 bombs.
Wow.
Come on. Absolute cannon of an arm.
Hey, you know also
Yeah,
we're number
Dewey.
24.
Book it.
The great Kobe Bryant, who also wore 8 for half of his career. And today, April 13th, is the 5-year anniversary of his last game in the NBA when he scored 60 points. Stacey, I've watched a lot of sporting events in my life. That was one of the most incredible performances I have ever seen.
Give me the hot sauce. Yeah, it was saucy. To know that's your last game, and to be, coming back from injury, where he had the Achilles tear. And I even go back to that game, how impressed I was with that. He went down with the Achilles tear, and then he went up and made his free throws, and then he walked off. No one carried him off. Yeah. He didn't get in a wheelchair or an ambulance gurney. He just walked off like it was no big deal. That's when I knew, man, Kobe is a bad dude. Like, he is super tough.
22 of 50, 6 for 21 from 3, 60 points. Yeah.
And, a lot of people complain about him shooting. I'm like, okay, first of all, when did Kobe not shoot?
Right.
Like, regardless, I mean, you still got to stop them.
And the Lakers weren't going anywhere that season. They were just finishing it out.
13 and 53.
And the show was to watch Kobe Bryant. It was, the house was filled with celebrities and everybody got a real treat.
I got a kick out of it when he came to the UC. And, before he, came into the game, jump ball circle, he came over there and gave me some dap and basically said he appreciate, what I did with Chicago. And I'm like,
that's
oh,
great.
Man, that Kobe remembers that. That's cool. And that I'll remember that for the rest of my life. That's just awesome.
That's a celebrity moment, maybe?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kobe's 60, though, was just amazing. I'll tell you what. And we're talking about injuries, a very serious injury in the NBA last night with Jamal Murray going down in the final 2 minutes of a game that had already been decided. I was watching the game at home.
Flashbacks of D Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were rallying, so I can understand why Mike Malone left his starters in the game, but they were not going to catch Golden State. It happened with just over a minute to go. He plants his left knee, it buckles, and we find out this morning it's an ACL tear.
It was non-contact. Yeah. That's what I had a flashback of Derrick Rose when it happened. And I was just, oh, man. I mean, the first thing to think is please don't let it be an ACL. Because, even though he plays for a different team, and it's still a fraternity, no matter if you're retired players or not. You don't like to see players get injured like that, especially really good players like him. He makes a huge difference in what Denver is trying to do as far as if they want to get out of the West. He's a big reason why they would have been out of the West if he was healthy.
They had won 8 games in a row before losing to Boston, and they lose again to Golden State. And now when you look at the Western Conference, it's packed at the top. You got Utah, Phoenix, both of the Los Angeles teams. I think, Stacey, you crossed Denver off. I don't think they're a contender anymore.
I don't think, to be honest with you, Mark, I still think they can beat Phoenix. I still think they can beat Utah, but I don't think they are going to beat the Lakers, and I don't think they're going to beat the Clippers in a series. Murray is that wild card with Jokic. And you got Aaron Gordon. They had a nice squad. They had a really nice squad, and they addressed a lot of their issues to be able to make a serious push to come out of the West. I mean, being able to get Aaron Gordon athletic forward. I mean, was amazing. And so at the end of the day, you know, this is a kid that could get you 50. He proved it last year in the playoffs. He can get you 50. You know, if Jokic is struggling or Jokic is, not, doing what he does, this is a guy who would get you 50 that can carry you to the next game and the next series. And they're going to be missing that now. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that production from? Because you don't have Gary Harris anymore.
Porter Jr.
But they're different positions. And this is a guard. This is a guy that runs your show that makes it so much easier for everybody else to get off. You know, he's never stops moving, without the basketball. And he's got the ability that he doesn't need screens. He can take you off the dribble. He can shoot from anywhere on the floor. And he's a pretty decent defensive player. Yeah,
they're probably gonna have to pick up a free agent. I know they were looking at a couple of guys, Austin Rivers being one of them, but you can't replace Jamal Murray. I mean, in the bubble last year, he emerged as a star, and he is one of the top. He's not exactly a point guard or a shooting guard, but he's just a really good basketball player, and they're going to miss him big time.
Yeah, they're going to really miss him, and that means there's going to be more pressure on Jokic to have to carry this team, and then everybody's role elevates. But it's going to be interesting to see. Is Will Barton going to be playing more of that position now? They've got to really look to address that issue very quickly.
Well, if they hang on, and like I predicted a couple of weeks ago, if they hang on, Jokic will be the MVP.
Oh, there's a very good chance of that because he's the only guy among the top stars who hasn't been hurt and missed a big chunk of games.
But if they stay in that top four,
in that same game where Jamal Murray was hurt, the Golden State Warriors were led by Steph Curry, who scored 53 points. He had 48 going into the fourth quarter. They thought he could rest because Golden State had such a big lead. But as I mentioned, the Nuggets rallied late. And Stinger did some research. He passed the great Wilt Chamberlain as the all-time leading scorer in the Warriors franchise. But it took him a little longer, didn't it?
Yes.
Wilt.
How about that? Isn't that amazing? I think anybody would have thought, right? I mean, Wilt did it in 429 games for the Warriors, right? Philadelphia, San Francisco Warriors, right? That's incredible. I mean,
how many did it take Steph to do?
745 games. That was pure
dominance, though. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, imagine if he would have how many years was he with them? With the Warriors?
It's probably about 6. I'm thinking 6 years off the top of my head. I can look it up.
Because he went to the Lakers.
Yeah,
playing against the Lilliputians.
The Lilliputians.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Hey, he was a beast. He was a beast, and some of the records that he has will never be broken. It'll be never. I mean, you'll be taught. I really never thought Oscar Robinson's record would be broken, the average triple double, but I knew it would come close. But I didn't think that it would happen.
It's 5.5 because he was traded to Philly. It's 64-65. He played 38 games that year for the San Francisco Warriors, averaged 38.9. You mentioned dominant, 50 points a game.
Yeah, that's incredible.
25 50 rebounds.
Points. Yeah. And there was one year when he averaged over 48 minutes a game because of overtime games.
That was the year he had.
We had 50, I was out there all the time.
He had 50 points that year.
And we know that he had a very active nightlife, so somehow he was able to keep his energy.
Hey, don't sleep on Will. Hey, Will, Will. He wasn't getting no rest.
Yeah. Hey. Some of the photos you see of Wilt, unbelievable.
Well, he had that bed, right? That the roof would open, right? And up in wherever Bel Air. I mean, I remember.
I don't know. We never were in there. Were you there? The way you're talking, you act like you was in the room with him. he was Southside looking like. How do you know that?
No, I was going 19,002, 19,000. No. I was his counter. I was his stats guy.
Yeah, Mr. Kravitz. He's looking through the window.
And that was before you could sponsor that Nitro Tea and that kind of stuff, right?
Stinger's just doing his research. It's all part of the Bubble Up folder. Bubble Up, the new way to visually organize any kind of content all in one place. You're just doing your job, right?
I'm just, I was crunching some numbers and doing my job.
Crunching numbers.
So we encourage everybody to download the Bubble Up app and to go to work, just like Stinger does, looking at all things about Wilt Chamberlain and Dewey Evans.
Oh,
I don't know exactly what.
Dewey Evans.
Yeah.
Dewey Evans, man. 19 years.
He had a cannon in right field, didn't he? Cut down those base runners.
Dude, he had a cannon.
Yeah, I know.
I think he had like most home runs in the 80s. I mean, if he's not number one in the 80s, he's like top 5.
And he was the old man next to Fred Lynn and Jim Rice, right?
That would be Captain Carl. Karl Yastrzemski was the old man in that equation, but he came up about the same time as, I think he might have been a year before or two of Lynn.
Baseball trivia for 1,000, Alex.
1975, Jim Rice and Fred Lynn.
Hey, let's put the conversation back closer to home.
Oh, we fell asleep. I'm sorry. Me and Whispers fell asleep.
Hey, let's segue to the Celtics, because we should get Scal back on, because remember we were talking.
He's still got that Celtic pride. It's a bad movie. It's a bad conversation.
I'm sorry. They scored. Tatum had 53 one night. They beat Denver on Sunday, and I think they're going to be the 6th.
Tatum had 53 the night that Zach had 50.
Well, they lost too, but that's another story.
That's why we're trying to circle a conversation.
Okay, so we're back to the Bulls now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, the last time we met,
speaking of sleeping,
was a week ago, and the Bulls were getting ready to go out on a 5-game road trip. They won the first 2, and we're thinking, they'll win all 5 and move up the ladder in the Eastern Conference. And a funny thing happened on the way to that perfect road trip. What happened, Stacey?
All I'm gonna say is I'm disappointed, because these are winnable games, and you're getting down to now to nut cutting time. It's 20 games left in the season. Every game's important, and when you get these games on the schedule that you're supposed to win, you got to win them, because at the end of the day, they're currently sitting 10th, but they're like a game up on Toronto. Toronto is going to get healthy at some point, and they're going to make a push.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not that far from the 10th spot. So you can't give these games away. You can't lose to the worst team in the NBA in Minnesota. You had the game, won
Atlanta.
They're up double digits.
You're up 13 at half, and then you wilted, and I think a lot of it was standing around watching Zach try to go for 50 instead of playing the game that they had been playing that got them those wins before coming to Atlanta.
How about Stacey using wilted as a verb there? That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Will Chamberlain talk? Nothing goes over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. Thank you, Mark. Way to be observant over there, buddy. He misses nothing.
Hey,
that would be unwilted, though.
Before.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Everybody take a draw of beer.
It's a drinking game. It's a drinking game when John talks.
Yeah. Every time John mentions Boston, take a pull.
Yeah. Anytime he misses the ball, it's a drink for John.
Yeah,
that's the new game.
Boy,
it's
we'll
a drinking game. Anything that has to do with Boston or the Patriots, anything.
You listeners out there,
Tom Brady,
stick around, because I got a gem for you. I got a Julian gem.
I need to quit drinking this whole one right now.
We'll save that for later.
Speaking of grade 24s, Whitey Bulger killed 24 people.
He said Whitey Bulger. Oh my God!
That's a great Bostonians.
Yeah, only the true Bostonians will know who Whitey Bulger is. The rest of the world, is that a baseball player? Oh yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
It's always tough to get back to sports after Timmy whispers.
Look at John's face.
Yeah, wait.
He just wants to choke you.
It's just noise. It's a lot of white noise. It's all.
White noise. White noise. Okay.
Hey, Stacey, the one thing about the Bulls, people always say, don't make excuses for them. These guys are professionals. They should be able to deal with stuff. But NBA teams generally don't make major changes in philosophy at the trade deadline. And with this trade, they went from a young team that played at a fast pace to a more veteran team walking the ball up the court. So for Billy Donovan to try to change 180 degrees in midseason is not an easy thing for any NBA coach to do.
No, it's not. And I'm not making any excuses for him. I mean, you still got to play basketball at the end of the day. Their numbers are up across the board as far as post-ups, assists out of the post. And those are the areas you want to see improvement. The big thing for them right now, it has nothing to do with, in my opinion, watching them every night of, if the pace is slow or not. It's defense. They can't guard anybody right now. I mean, the guards are getting broken down at the top of the circle, which in turn is a domino effect, because someone steps up to help the guard that's beat.
Yeah.
No one helps the guy who helped the helper. And so therefore you get an easy dunk, lobs up in the air. You saw that with Clint Capella the other night, was living above the rim. You saw it, last night, Valanciunas was getting dunks. I mean, so, they've got to address defensively, and the guards, I'm putting the onus on the guards. They got to do a better job of keeping, guards in front of them and taking it personal. you can't always yell for help. You know, you get screened, help. You know, you can't. No, you got to fight through screens. You got to get physical with teams. And right now, at the point of attack, that's where they're the weakest at, in my opinion. At the point of attack, when the guards are coming down the floor and they're running a pick and roll game, or it's just an isolation, they're getting broken down at the point of attack.
Yeah, I thought the defensive effort was a lot better in the first quarter. I thought there were more guys trying to help in the post, trying to help on pick and roll coverage, but that kind of dropped off as we got to the fourth quarter. They did a pretty good job defensively on John Morant. He didn't have a big offensive game, but he did get in the paint and disrupt the defense a lot, especially in that fourth quarter.
Well, the first half, and we said that during the game, is like, you know, this is something that has to be consistent. You can't just do it for a quarter. You can't do it for 2 quarters.
Right.
If you want to get to being a playoff team and a serious playoff team, you got to play defense for 4 quarters. You can't do it for 2 quarters. And that's what they did against, you know, Memphis. It's like for 2 quarters, they look awesome. In that second half, they just were like, you know, guys were getting to the basket. They were getting second chance opportunities. And, you know, Memphis is one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the NBA. And they lived up to their billing.
Right now, the 3 young guys, their heads are spinning, talking about Kobe White, Lauri Markkanen, and Patrick Williams. They are struggling with a capital S.
Well, Lowry's probably, you know, is really tough because, you know, he's been in the league a long time, you know, 4 years, and you don't expect that out of him. You know, Kobe's second year being in a situation where they're trying to convert him to being a point guard. I've honestly said his first year was a waste, in my opinion, because Jim Boylan and his coaching staff never gave him the ball to develop as a point guard. And maybe had they done that his first year, maybe he would be a little further along when Billy Donovan got him. You know, they used him in that Ben Gordon role his first year. So he doesn't have a lot of confidence right now. He's lost his confidence, and he's a talented kid. He's just got to slow down. He's going 100 miles an hour. He's super fast. And sometimes I think he's just too fast, and he needs to slow down a little bit. Kobe's going to be okay. I'm not worried about him. Patrick Williams, I'm not worried about. I would just like to see him be more assertive. You know, be more aggressive. You know, someone's got to grab him and tell him, you're the future. You know, you should be right now the third option for us right now. You should be behind Vooch and behind Zach. You should be the third option nightly. I want you to average, you know, your first year, I want you to average between 12 and 15 points. Every night, you're going to guard the best player, the best wing player, which he has all season. And I want you to be aggressive offensively. If you have a shot, take it. If you get the ball off the glass, take it and initiate the offense. Have him bring the ball up. He used to do that in the beginning of the season so much. Now you see him, he'll get a one-hand rebound, look like Michael Jordan grabbing one-hand rebounds. He'll take 2 dribbles and he'll give the ball to Zach instead of taking it up the floor himself, because he does have guard skills, and he's not utilizing them. You know, he's right now, the last like 8 games, to me, he's just been sitting around floating at the 3-point line, and that's not his strength.
Yeah, we don't want to see him fall into that trap that Wendell Carter Jr. fell into, where he never even looked at the basket. So hopefully Patrick Williams will be more aggressive. Bulls have home games coming up against Wendell Carter Jr. and the Orlando Magic on Wednesday.
Showdown.
Then Memphis comes in on Friday, and the Cavaliers are in over the weekend. So the chance to get a winning streak. But we've said that before. Hopefully this time it turns out to be true. Since we've been talking about the Bulls struggling, how about lightening the mood? We've got a fantastic guest coming up. Stacy booked one of the big headliners in multimedia. Anthony Spice Adams is going to join us next. On Spicy the Hot Sauce.
Questions for your dad? Okay.
Well, since nobody had any questions, I'm just gonna order me some food.
Yes. Who will ever forget the day when Anthony Spice Adams decided to call it a career in the NFL? A favorite of Chicago Bears fans and teammates, and now he's a multimedia star. Spice, take us back to that special day where you called that retirement press conference at a White Castle restaurant.
I don't even know if you can call it a special day. I didn't want to be done. You know, they forced me to be done. I still have some more years left, man. They didn't want me to do it, man. But it was funny because my wife and I, we were driving past the White Castle, and I was like, "Oh, I got an idea." I already know what this is like. Like, I don't want to do it. And so we went in there. I'm like, come on. It's like, there's nobody in there. Like, come on, let's do it. Then we're going to get in trouble. I'm like, no White Castle? How are we going to get in trouble? And so she brought the camera in there and we shot it. And then I came up with this idea to say, you know, it was the Wick Cassell and all this other type of stuff, man. And the rest is history, though. But looking at it now, like, because I edited it myself and I'm looking at it, I'm just like cringing. Like, that's one of my first videos. I was just like, that transition is terrible. But
Didn't ESPN pick it up that same night and run it on their programs?
Yeah. So once I hit return on the keyboard, you know, I was getting ready to get up. And then I see from ESPN assignment desk, they DM'd me. They said, hey, can we use this video? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, yeah, this is cool. So they say, okay, cool. So I get up from my office. I walk into the living room and Trey Wingo is talking about it. I'm just like, what?
A star is born.
Every 10 minutes, like something else happens. Somebody calls me or something like that. I go to check my email on my Yahoo account. It's on the front page. It's just like, you know, Anthony Adams is the greatest NFL free agent in the history of football. And I'm just like, what? Like, already? It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
So is that how you come up with all your skits? Because it's like you just like you're in a certain area and you go, hey, this would be a nice place to do a skit. Like in a Chick-fil-A. Like, you know, the Chick-fil-A one when you come out the car sliding and gliding. Like, I'm like, did he just happen to drive up for a Chick-fil-A sandwich and decide that he want to do a video right then and there? Is that how it comes about?
Pretty much. Or I'm like listening to a song and I'm like, man, I could remix this. Like, this would be fun to do. So, funny story about the Chick-fil-A is I knew the best time to shoot it, especially with my wife, would be Sunday when they closed. So I'm like, all right, look, I got this red suit on. Let's go up here. And she's just like, oh my, like, here we go again. Like, we're going to get in trouble. I'm like, come on, just all I need. The song is like 2 minutes. So I'm like, all I need is 2 minutes. All right, I'm going to just sing the song, whatever. Then you just tape it with the camera. She's just like, she's taping, but she's like this. Like, so you
look and make sure you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, you can see the camera kind of like veering off in the video. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I came up with this idea that I'm gonna order. We took a trip to I think we went to like Costa Rica or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy some fries and go on the beach with it. So we left Sunday. So I'm like, Chick-fil-A's closed on Sunday. So I ordered the fries Saturday and I put them in a Ziploc bag. And we went to Costa Rica, and I got these fries in a Ziploc bag.
It's like a day old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! When I whipped those fries out after a week, when we were on the beach, they were green and blue, all the good ones. And you know, I had a drone and everything in there, so I was just shooting everything with all the good fries that I had in there, and it was dope, man. It came out pretty good. That's like one of my most viewed videos.
Really?
Yeah. I did a boxing video that got a lot. It got like 4 million something views.
Wow.
But the Chick-fil-A song that I did, that's on iTunes.
Yes.
It has like 4 million views as well on YouTube.
Man, I tell you what, boy, I mean, your skits are just hilarious. I do. I mean, I sit there and I'll watch them. And I've even sent you a message and say, man, that's funny. That's funny. But you have taken off. It's amazing. You go from one career, now you're into, you know, social media, and everyone kind of they look at you now, not even that you were a great football player, but they see you just as an internet sensation. They didn't know that you were a hell of an athlete.
Yeah, I still, you know, every Throwback Thursday or something like that, I'll put up a video of me playing for the Bears or me playing for the 49ers, and people are like, your Photoshop game is crazy. Like, how put yourself into the game like that. Like, what if, are you using Adobe After Effects? Like, God, I seriously did this for 9 years. Like, it happened. And people are just like, so for me, it's confirmation that I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because people don't even know that I played football. They like, oh, you the funny dude on social media and stuff like that. But look, I do want to say this, Mr. Stacey King. Watching you play for the Bulls, I did not like you. Because I was a Pistons fan.
Oh, because you from the area.
Yeah, look at those championship banners behind him.
I'm from Detroit. And so watching Mr. Silky Smooth, left hand, Stacey King, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, but he's no.
Him, man.
You see those banners back there, Spice? See them banners back in the back.
Championship corner.
But you know what? Chicago has accepted me, being as though I'm from Detroit. And I love Chicago, man. I absolutely love Chicago.
Stacey was a great player, but he's no Creamy Bigums. What we need to do is we need to get Stacey on the call of one of Creamy Bigums' exploits.
Oh, he don't want to do that.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you another one of the Creamy Bigums I like is when you did that old Nike commercial where they played that and you was dribbling in your garage. Man, that was hilarious. You ever seen that commercial, that old Nike commercial where they dribble and it's a beat? And they're all doing to a beat and they pass it to each other.
Right.
He was doing it by himself. And he was, I literally died laughing because first of all, you got the Hooter shorts on. So I'm saying, how the hell he get in them damn shorts? Okay. But I think what I'm impressed with Spice is your athleticism. For a big guy, boy, you are athletic as hell.
Yeah. My mom, dude. I used to all of my cousins and everything, like they were like real skinny dudes. So we used to always play basketball in my neighborhood, and they would always take their shirts off. So I used to always be the one, with my shirt still on, just like, nah, I'm not gonna take my shirt off. So my mom was like, boy, if you don't take your shirt off like the rest of these boys and go out there and play some basketball, I'm like, Ma, nah, like they're gonna talk about my chest and stuff like that. And so, she made me take my shirt off, and then they started cracking jokes. But what I noticed that I could crack jokes well, like with the best of them or whatever. Yeah. So it came to a point in time where I didn't care about the jokes. I already knew what you was gonna say, but then I was gonna talk about your teeth. I was going to talk about how your breath stink. I was going to talk about your body odor, like everything. Talk about how you sweating, talk about how you shoot, talk about everything. And they was like, dude. And, my cousins were a little older than me. So they were just like, yo, I don't know if we need to be talking about him. Like, he's spitting some truth out here, man. And so, my mom, I was always involved with something. She always put me in dance competitions. And so she never let me just be like, oh, I'm too big to do this or I'm too big to do that. Like she always was like, you can do everything those little boys is doing. You can do it, baby. And so I was like this, mama, I need to pop and lock. Like she like, yeah, that's my baby.
Hey, speaking of Showtime, how did the pregame dance start with the Bulls that we watched for so many years?
The pregame dance?
Yeah, how'd that all start?
That was Olin Kreuz's fault. That was his fault. So they always choose a person to break everybody down. And they choose different ones every week. They say, all right, this week we're gonna go with Peanut. Okay, this week we're gonna go with Tommy Harris. This week we're gonna go with Lance Briggs. Then they said, okay, this week, and they choose the day of the game. So you don't have time to think about what you're gonna do or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like we're stretching right before the game start, pregame. And so Olin looking around, he say, Spice, it's all on you. So I'm like, all right. So I do my pregame dance and everything, get everybody hyped up. And then Olin says, I think you're gonna do it for the rest of the season now. Nobody's gonna be able to top this. You got to do it every week. And so it was 2010, I think it was, man. Like we had a great year, man. And I remember that like it was yesterday. I did it like throughout the playoffs. Like it was dope. But that was a good time, man. But the thing is, it take a lot of energy to do it. I'm like, boy, I hope offense go out first. I hope we lose before it's off.
Spice, you're doing some analysis for Fox 32. You do the Inside the Bears show that airs weekly throughout the year. A lot of fun on the show as well as football talk. But obviously, the Bears fans are wondering, are they ever going to find a franchise quarterback? That you've lived it as a player. Now you're as an analyst. What are they going to do at that position, Spice?
That is the $1 million question. You know, I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did, but I don't know. It seems like every time we get the opportunity to do it, for whatever reason, we always end up relying on the defense again.
Right.
Like I don't know when we're gonna, get that right when it comes to the draft, as far as drafting that franchise quarterback. But I don't know, man. I wish I knew, guys.
Being a defensive lineman and seeing in today's game, is there one guy or a few guys that you like out there? You go, man, that dude is a bad dude.
Man, okay, Stacy. I told the Bears, I said, I don't care what you have to do. I don't care what you hear in your ears. Draft Aaron Donald.
Oh,
this was what, 7 years ago, I guess?
Yeah, he went one pick before him.
I'd say, listen, I don't care. I'm talking to somebody answers the phone and they put the call in for the Bears to get up on the podium and say the Chicago Bears select, whatever. Whoever that was, I say, look, I don't care what they say to you. If they say draft Michael Westbrook or whatever, act like you don't hear him and just put in Aaron Donald. I say this guy is one of the best defensive tackles I've seen in a long time, and I think we should draft him. And they're like, I say, dude, this Aaron Donald guy, man. But Aaron Donald is unbelievable. Just the stuff that he does, even when he doesn't make the tackle, like just how disruptive he is. It's like he does dream moves, like the moves that you're thinking of when you go to bed before the game is all the things that he does in the game. Like it's crazy. Like you look at it and on film, it just looked like, oh, he just club ripped. Yeah, okay, I can do that. My club rips don't look like that. Like he clubbing, flying off the way. I'm like, man, when I do that, it don't be the same. Like when I do that, it's still guys like all like holding me. Like once this dude club and rip you, you like this man. Aaron Donald, he's the best right now.
I like it.
He's gonna have 100 sacks before he even gets to year 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's got 85 and a half right now.
At defensive tackle.
Yeah. Getting double teamed.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
Man, that's like before the game starts, you hit up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Like he is a cheat code, man. You put the contra code on it. Unreal.
Hey Spice, you're 6 foot. I know you had a 30.5-inch vertical, and you talked about Aaron Donald. He's 6'1", but what's it like playing? The one gap. Playing against some of these guys. Did you have certain techniques that you would use?
Yeah, just be short. That's me. The low man go win, and and the thing is, I love playing nose guard, and I think you got to be some type of crazy to play football to begin with.
Yeah,
but playing nose guard and wanting to actually play nose guard, like because a lot of defensive tackles, like they look at that as a form of punishment, like because if you playing three technique, you're there to get sacks. Like if you're playing nose guard, like you're there to get double teamed all day. And like, that's what I wanted to do. Like, that's just how crazy I was. Like, I wanted to command a double team every time so that Lance Briggs could go run free. And, you know, we got all the linebackers running free, and the defensive tackles, they're able to get their one-on-ones, whatever. And I'm just like, I'll take on the double team, man. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all need to do. You know, like that was just my mindset. Like, I wanted to be a nose guard. Like, I wanted to be that unsung hero, the guy that, you know, brought his lunch pail to work every day. Like, you knew what you was going to get out of me. Like, I was going to hustle, and I was going to understand the defense. And so I played my role pretty good up until the point where I got released at Disney World.
You got released at Disney World?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got released in February. February 25th. February 25th, I got released. I'm at Disney World with the fam. We on the bus. The kids watching Mickey Mouse on the
brutal.
And I get the call from Lovey, like, "Hey, big guy, we're gonna let you go."
No.
I'm like, let me go where, coach? Where are we going? We going to the Super Bowl. I'm with you. Like, let's do it. Like, you putting plays in this early?
Just we're gonna let you go to Space Mountain and ride with your kids.
Wow.
It was so different. I got the news early too. So, you know, I think we were gonna be at Disney for like, you know, 5-6 days. And I got it day one. So I'm just
no.
Wow.
I'm
just ruined the whole trip.
Like, no, you can't get no extra fruit punch.
Yeah,
that's right.
Fruit punch is like $8 there. Like, you get a Capri Sun at Disney World, it's like $15.
Yes, very
like, you gotta share that with the rest of the row. Take a little, and then pass it. Take a little sip of the Capri Sun, and then you gotta pass it down for the rest of the row.
You know, what I mean, when you look at the Bears, you know, they're known for their defense. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind anytime you talk about Chicago Bears, even going way back when, like Buckets and all those guys that played. You know, what is it about that culture? Why is it? Is it the coaching? Because you get different coaches all the time, but it's the same mentality. They always have bone-crunching defense. The defense is what keeps them in the game. Why is it that way?
I have no idea.
Because they can't score. That's why.
But it's crazy though, because it's like this has been like multiple years, like 15, 20 decades. It's always been known. Chicago's always been known for their defense, and it's like a culture. Like, you got the Patriot way, the Spurs way. It's like the Chicago Bear way. Defense is always going to be at its premium, and the offense is going to be low. So what is it about that keeps that defense at such a high level year in and year out, even when the offense is super bad?
Mm-hmm. I really think it's the fact that when you walk in those halls, you see all those retired numbers. Like, you see Buckets, you see Peanut Tillman, you see Lance Briggs, you see, you know, Bronco Nagurski. Like, you can go all the way back to, you know, black and white pictures. Like, you see that every day. And I think you're just attracted to it. Like, when somebody mentioned the Chicago Bears and defense, you're like, oh, I gotta go there. Like, I gotta go there to see Mike Singletary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta go there to see Richard Dent. I gotta go. And I think as a person that plays defense, you're just like, Chicago is where I need to be. For instance, when I was with San Francisco and my contract was up, and, you know, I was a free agent, my agent was telling me about Chicago Bears, and I was like, the Bears? Really? I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
You know, you got Tommy Harris there, you got Adewale Agunleye, Alex Brown, like Mike Brown, like, what? Like, yeah, let's do it. So it was a no-brainer for me to come in. I think a lot of, you know, linebackers or, you know, DBs or defensive linemen, like, it's the same thing for them. Like, you know, Chicago Bears on the radar. They like, yeah, I'm gonna be a part of that tradition.
Yeah.
Hey, Spice, you love to have fun with all your videos. Your improvisational skills are off the charts. And you're also working on a network television show, co-hosting the Great American Baking Show. What's that like for a guy that likes to play it, you know, loose and improvise a little bit? Network show, I'm sure you got to be on your marks. Everything's got to be timed exactly right. Did they give you some freedom on that, or has that been an adjustment for you?
Yeah, they allow me to have fun and, you know, use my personality and just let me go and, you know, have fun, because that's what it's all about. But when it comes time to telling people what they need to bake and what needs to be out and what needs to be in and how they need to do things and how long it needs to be, then of course I can't go off script when it comes to that. But everything else, they allow me to just have fun and get into my characters and, you know, make people around there, you know, have a good time, because it's so stressful. I mean, you're inside of a tent, you're overseas, and, you know, it's different ingredients over there. Like right now, you can go out and buy like some butter and you can understand what it's like once you put it inside of your cake or whatever. But when you're outside in the elements and you're in a tent and then you have to go shopping over in the UK, it's different. Like their butter is different from ours. And it's a lot of things that you don't think about until you actually have to do it. And then you got the judges all in your face, breathing down your neck. Like, you sure you're gonna put that in there for 15 minutes? You sure? Okay. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just sure you're gonna do that.
That's funny.
You know, it's hard, man.
So you,
but it's a dope show, man. I love it, and I get a chance to work with Emma Button.
Yeah.
And you know, Paul Hollywood. Yeah. So you got the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
And Spice.
She's Baby Spice. Emma Button is Baby Spice.
No, man. I love it.
I didn't know that. So these guys,
you passed the test, Stacey.
Yeah. So you do the physical comedy. Have you ever entertained the fact? Because I think with the physical comedy and then actually getting up on stage and telling jokes, I think you'd be super dope at that, because a lot of the great comedians use the physical comedy. Mm-hmm. And you have a way, I could just see you really taking off as a comedian with the way you do the physical part of it.
Yeah, I did a stand-up one time at the Laugh Factory a couple years ago, and I did like a 7-8 minute set or something like that. And you know, it's different, like doing stand-up or doing a sketch. They're two entirely different things. And the thing with stand-up is that you got to be fresh and you got to come with it, like, you know, every day, because nowadays people can tape you with their phones and it can be up on YouTube, and then like you can't say the same thing that you said yesterday. Like you gotta switch it up. You know, back in the day, you were able to do that because they didn't have social media or whatever. So you can go, you know, from city to city saying the same jokes. But now it's like you got to come up with something fresh and something new, like every day, and that's hard to do. And it's a lot of pressure. But I mean, a lot of comedians are doing it. But as far as what I'm doing is I'm doing a lot of sketches on social media and things like that. And you know, whatever comes about it, then you know it's gonna be good. I mean, I got 4 kids, so whatever come first. Yeah. You know, if I'm, you know, hosting a show, or if I'm doing more episodes on Ballers with The Rock, or you know, doing episodes of Detroiters on Comedy Central, or movies, or whatever the case may be. Like I'm open to it. And I think the thing also, like if I really wanted to do stand-up comedy, I mean, I would just have to immerse myself in it, just like how I did with football. Like you need the reps. Yeah. So, you know, I would be up at every open mic, or I would be up at Riddles or Zanies, or all of the comedy the comedy things that, you know, Chicago has to offer, or Second City, or whatever the case may be. And I know if I just, like, with the work ethic that I had in football, I can just transfer that over into stand-up or whatever, and just keep getting the reps to the point where I'm a lot more comfortable out there. So I don't take it lightly. Like it's entirely, it's 2 different things. They're just like boxing and basketball. Yeah. Or, you know, basketball and football, whatever. 2 different sports. You got to be in 2 different type of shapes in order to be good at it. So, you know, I don't take that stuff lightly at all.
You mentioned your kids. Sometimes kids can be your toughest critics. They give you a hard time at all when something that they thought might have fallen a little bit flat, and they give you a hard time about it?
I don't think they really know what to expect. I'm I'm always in dad mode. You know what I mean? So like I could be in a purple suit with a purple top hat, and you know I could walk in the house and they'll say, "Oh, Dad is recording something." But at the same time, with me having that silly outfit, I'll say, "Sit down." They'll sit down.
Yeah.
So that they don't really know what to expect. Like, is Dad gonna be funny or whatever? Or is Dad gonna really be in dad mode? And I'm always in dad mode.
I tell you another funny skit is when you had the when you went to the barber shop and he's like, yeah, when you go see your barber and you had the Carlos Boozer Inc. Hairdo. And you had it on your beard, you had it on your hair, and Carlos Boozer had that say. I'm like, oh my God, he's got the Carlos Boozer. Man, that was hilarious.
If Boozer is watching, I know it. I know it, God.
Oh man, that was awesome.
What's so crazy about that is like people who didn't follow me, they thought that my character was like real.
Yeah.
So if you type in Beijing, B-I-G-E-N, like we call it Beijing, but it's really vegan. If you type that in, or if you type in black hair dye, a picture of me pops up. You know how on Google, sometimes it goes from like 1 through 25. You don't have to go through 25. It's like the first page. Like this is what not hilarious. But I put it in like a My Strange Addiction, TLC type style. So people really thought it aired on TLC.
Wow.
Like I did a video, that was like the video that just like took off, like I've never seen anything like exponentially like this. Like, so I put it up on my page. Within like 15 minutes, it had like 300,000 views.
Wow.
What? Like everybody was sharing it. Like it was crazy to like keep up with. And then everybody, of course, put like different memes to it and stuff like that.
Because you're on a lot of memes. The best one though is when you're like hiding behind a tree and you're rubbing your hands together, and they got like catching your girl cheating, or they got it all. They got the look you have when you catch your girl doing something she ain't supposed to be doing.
It's in different languages.
Yes.
Different businesses use it, and it's crazy. What happened was we were taking family photos. This was like in November. And like we all serious, but like I got on a sweater vest and I'm all, we taking family pictures. And then I just say, hey, you know what? I say to the photographer, I'm gonna be right back. Let me go to the minivan. I got a yellow suit in the minivan. So I go to the minivan, and you know how you change inside of I'm in there, like, changing my clothes and everything. So boom, I come out of the minivan with a full yellow suit on, and I'm walking towards where the family is, and I just see my wife, like, and it's just like slow motion to her. She's just like, oh my, here we go again. Yellow suit with the tag still on the sleeve. And I took that picture, and it was crazy because we were taking family photos at the time, but then now it becomes like a meme where it's just like, you can't go a day without somebody like remixing it and putting something up there on it. It's crazy. It just took on, a world of its own.
Can before we let you go, Spice, can you hit me with the
the famous Spice?
The famous laugh. The
so
pimp
that's
laugh.
What happens when you get a good cut.
Yeah,
you get a cut, like everything is trimmed up. You got 90-degree angles everywhere. And then, the barber put the mirror in front of you. You just look at the mirror and you go,
The funny part of that is before you went to go get the fresh cut, you got like the nappy hair, the beard's all messed up.
This is what you look all-time low.
Yeah, and then you go in there and you get the haircut, and then you come back with that.
Yeah, that's it. You got to let everybody know. Let everybody know that you just came off the barber chair, man. But before you go in, you just like, hey guys, just wanted to say hello to everyone. But then when you get that cut, you're like, hey, what's going on? What's the move tonight, fellas? Where we going? Where we going?
The great Spice Adams. You've been so generous with your time. We look forward to watching you on the Great American Baking Show. You can catch him on Inside the Bears on WFLD Fox 32 weekly throughout the year. And just always watch for what's next on Instagram, because you never know what this man will come up with. And we're going to put together that Creamy Bigum's Stacey King video, all right?
Creamy Bigums, baby.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Spice Adams, our guest on Gimme the Hot
Stay
Sauce.
on that grind, boys. Stay on that grind.
We're going off the wall next. I'm sure subscribers to the show know that every week we post a Bubble Up roll. We have some of the highlights from the show. You want to check out Anthony Spice Adams in action on Instagram, some of the great memes and some of the routines that he's done. We'll have them for you. You can also check him out on Instagram. I believe it's at Spice Adams. So this guy's an amazing talent, and we really enjoyed our visit with him. We're going to go off the wall now, and Mr. Boston, John Walsh, wants to state the case for Julian Edelman to be an NFL Hall of Famer. In case you missed it, he retired from the National Football League. He was one of the top receivers for them during their Super Bowls with Tom Brady.
Not getting that button.
Now, Stacey,
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Stacey and I don't think that he's a Hall of Famer, John. Can you try to convince us?
Well, first of all, it's really not about the Hall of Fame. So if you watched him,
now he's changing the argument.
No, I'm just saying it.
He was ready to fight me today. When we went to the meeting.
I'm not here to parrot something from Sports Center about some stupid argument. Okay, I'm here to say the guy.
Did you write that down?
No, I had.
First of all, before we even get started, I don't like your attitude. Well, it seems kind of hostile.
I'm not here to say.
I got pepper spray up under the table, and I will spray your ass.
Fred Biletnikoff had 8,000 yards, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And there's a lot of guys that don't. The numbers. All I know is I don't even know if Julian Edelman cares about being in the Hall of Fame and wearing a yellow jacket. I just remember 28-3, that incredible catch. No one's ever seen a catch like that. That concentration, 8 first downs against the Rams.
Swan.
Yeah, but this was going in a pile of people where
legs.
Yeah.
Okay,
So go watch the Super Bowl against the Rams.
Who cares?
That's all I gotta say. It's not.
Who was that other short receiver who played for the
Wes Welker?
Is he going to Hall of Fame too?
Well, he has more receptions. Once again, I'm not here to parrot Hall of Fame. I'm just saying the guy.
I need numbers. What do you need? How many receptions?
How many receptions
for Julian
Edelman? Well, I mean, first of all,
you're stalling.
It's 600. It's probably 600.
I need numbers.
All right, hold on.
Okay, I'm the Hall of Fame.
Remember, the guy who looks out these numbers. Every week, John puts out this sheet, which is great.
We appreciate the format.
All the research he does on the Bubble Up.
I appreciate that. Okay,
but he wrote here. He actually typed this out. After Brady, he's the second greatest Patriot.
620 receptions. Who else?
Well, I'm not Mr. Boston, but.
Well,
come on.
So he's 627 receptions.
20.
Okay, 620. Hines Ward has 1,000 receptions.
You know what? We can sit here about numbers.
Okay.
But this guy had an impact. He was in.
So did Hines Ward.
This guy was in 4 Super Bowls.
Hines Ward won the Super Bowl MVP.
The Super Bowl against the Rams.
Oh,
he made that huge catch. Once again, I am not here to debate whether or not the merits of the Hall of Fame.
Lord.
I'm just saying that the guy had in my opinion, Hall of Fame career, and he inspired so many people because of his undersized. He brought joy to me. When I watched that guy play, it was great to watch.
So to be in a wrestling John's joy. It brought joy to me.
You're leaning over to your wife. Are you looking for some help here or what?
She's trying to save him.
If you're going to say that he's not the second greatest Patriot, then who is?
What?
I'm not a Boston guy. I don't know.
Who second greatest? You're saying he's the second greatest
behind
Patriot?
Tom Brady. I'm going on the record.
Adam Vinatieri.
Willie McGinnis.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
He's up there.
Okay. Ty Law.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay.
They're in the conversation with.
They're better than him. Those are all pros.
Those guys are great players. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Listen,
I take it
back. The only Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor should be at Gillette Stadium as a Patriot.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, that's it. That's about as far as I would go. And if you really want, and that's really pushing it in my point of view. I mean, seriously. I mean, 600 and some catches. I mean, you got guys in the Hall that are not in the Hall of Fame that their numbers jump off the charts, and you wonder why they're not there.
Well, but once again, I don't think it really matters to Julian
He can't get
Edelman.
in there. He can't get in there if Hines Ward's not in there. I'm sorry.
But I mean, he had, like, here's the difference with Hines Ward and all these guys. They finished their career, and now they're expecting to be in the Hall of Fame. I bet you Julian Edelman probably doesn't even care.
No, but you care.
I don't.
You're arguing it.
No,
we don't know,
I think
Julian.
you care. It's on the sheet.
It's on the sheet. The second greatest Patriot of all time.
I'm not saying
Tom
anything.
Brady hasn't said anything about him being a Hall of Famer. Gronk hasn't said it.
Neither am I. I'm not saying anything.
But you, Stinger, you are defending him. And, yeah. Where's the sound effect?
Like this one.
That one. I don't. Hey, listen. I'm not arguing that he wasn't a great player for them. Okay, he was a good football player. Came in as a quarterback,
Kent State,
and worked his way into being a great slot receiver, a money guy on short, on third and long. He come up with, but just because of that doesn't make you a Hall of Famer.
I didn't say I don't.
If you ask the Jets fans, Miami fans, they said probably his ring of honor should be next to a urinal. In above the thing, because they wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, listen. There's two separate seasons, right? We talk about guys who in the World Series they go 0 for 10, and then there's guys like Julian Edelman who just transcend, like go to another level, and his career in the postseason is like Jerry Rice like. That's all I can say. I'm not even saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't really care. He just he was a great player to watch.
Well, Whitey Bulger thought it was Aaron Hernandez. Was the second best Patriot of all time.
Yeah. Whitey Bulger would get a vote for him to go in the Hall of Fame.
No, for Aaron Hernandez is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's who Whitey liked.
Whitey liked Aaron. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
Once again, Whispers takes the show completely off the rails.
Whispers threw a bomb in the middle of the table again.
He did.
I had to dig deep on that one.
Oh,
this
my God.
The off the wall segment, and that was off the wall.
That was seriously off the wall. It ricocheted off the wall.
Why don't we have a little fun? Stacey brought up this idea about celebrity encounters. We've all had the good fortune in our profession to meet a lot of interesting people. Whispers, let's start with you. Who's the most interesting person? You're the international man of mystery.
Yes.
What kind of celebrity encounters have you had?
Jeez. Well, it's an interesting past because my dad used to rent his car collection to movies, and so met a lot of movie stars and, of course, athletes through Stacey and stuff. But there used to be this bar out in LA on Wednesday nights that was very popular called Spice, oddly enough.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Remember that.
And when I was there and met Stallone, but he was standing next to one of my favorite stars of all time, Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Jesus.
Ron Jeremy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that encounter, Whispers.
Yeah, you really liked him, huh?
At a place called Spice.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah.
Please tell us you didn't meet him in the bathroom.
I have no idea what he's talking to Stallone about, but nonetheless,
Hanging over the urinal.
So no. Tell us about this. I got to know about this meeting with Ron Jeremy. Ron Jeremy, America. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the most famous porn actors in the world. That's all I know. So go ahead, say what.
That's all he is.
No. He sells cars.
What are
now.
his other credits?
He sells cars now. Hey, he was in Where the Red Fern Grows. He was.
was he in that?
You're a big fan of Jeremy's.
Did he play one of the dogs?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Ron Jeremy. I'm not gonna lie.
So did you actually go up to Ron Jeremy and have engage in a conversation?
Well, I was a little starstruck, so the only thing that
oh my God,
the only thing that could come out of my mouth was hell of a penis.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say?
All I said was hell of a penis and shook his hand. I had no idea what to say, and that's what came out. And Stallone kind of looked at me like, "What's your problem?"
So you got Sylvester Stallone there, but you gravitate to Ron Jeremy.
Well, because at the end of the day, I've seen more of his films than Stallone's, so he's a bigger star to me.
Oh my God! Tim, Whispers not hey America. Whispers is not whispering tonight. You learn something new every time you come on the show.
The Whispers fan club's gonna get a lot of new members this week. Yeah,
the ratings are gonna be up because of this one. Thanks, Whispers.
Well, that's what happened.
Oh my God!
I can't say it was a proud moment.
How about the Walsh family? We got a celebrity encounter you want to talk about?
Susan, why don't you take this one?
Southside?
No, I mean, but who's your celebrity? You met Henry Kissinger once, right?
What?
Well, he's not really a celebrity.
He's not a celebrity.
He's no Ron Jeremy.
He's no Ron Jeremy.
Although he doesn't look like him.
He does look like him.
I used to work in Los Angeles on 6th and Olive, and everybody that I worked with just loved to see celebrities. And I just mocked them. Like they'd be like, oh my God, they're filming a movie down the street. And I'm like, seriously, grow up, you know? For years this went on. And then one day we were at lunch, we finished lunch, we were in the lunchroom, we were cleaning up, and somebody goes, yeah, Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon. And I'm like, wait a minute. What did you say? Mel Gibson, they're filming Lethal. I seriously ran. I didn't look back. I ran. I was in a suit. I was full on sweating, like trying to get a look at Mel Gibson, and that my whole office, who are you? And I don't know what came over me, but it was just amazing.
Did you meet him?
Well, I didn't meet him, but I got to see the set. It was the scene where they were filming in a police station. And I was, in the crowd. I was allowed to mingle in the crowd in the background. So I think I got on the cutting room floor, to be honest with you, because I've looked.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was just such a thrill. So anyway, I take back all the horrible things I said about people who get starstruck, because Mel Gibson, called the bullshit.
Were you and John together at the time?
No.
Kind of, maybe.
No.
I was around with the suits.
Yeah.
When she used to wear the.
But you weren't around when she was hot for Mel Gibson.
She's still hot
for you.
She's still hot for Mel. She's still hot for Mel Gibson. Trust me. Yeah, Lethal Weapon's on on a loop.
Sunrise.
Oh wow, Tequila Sunrise. That's awesome movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's awesome movie.
Yeah.
Stinger, you got one for us?
I there's so many. I a lot of athletes over the years. Paul Hogan. I had dinner with Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee at my brother's house. I remember that was fun.
Hello, Mike.
But we were in Indianapolis. I was doing a Indiana football game. We were at the Malibu Rose. It was a bar in downtown Bloomington, and I remember John Mellencamp was in the bar.
Yeah.
And I was so excited because I was going to Farm Aid at then Miller Park, and he was just kind of hanging out, and he was talking to us, and we had a few beers in us, and he was just talking, and I went up and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I heard he was a pretty rough and tumble guy, so I tapped him on the shoulder, nothing, tapped him on the shoulder again, and he finally turned around. I go, hey, I'm going to Farm Aid in October. He goes, yeah, good for you.
Really?
Tell your story walking.
Wow.
Yeah. Good for you. Beat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like John, we've had a chance to interview all kinds of athletes over the years, and you do get kind of starstruck with some of the celebrities that you meet. I got a chance to interview the great Hank Aaron, who was a boyhood idol of mine in Milwaukee, but the celebrities are the ones that make a lasting impression, because then you really do get nervous. I remember they were having some kind of ice show at the United Center, and the station sent me out to interview Katarina Witt.
Ooh.
In her hotel suite. And so I'm like, this is going to be fun. Yeah. So my cameraman and I are waiting in the lobby, and Miss Witt, we'll see you now. So we went up there, and she couldn't have been nicer, gorgeous. You talk about Ron Jeremy, I'll give you Katarina Witt.
Yeah.
That was one that I remember. She was even lovelier in person than you remember her on ice.
Oh man, man, she was
smoking.
Yeah, she was saucy for real. Saucy. She can give me the hot sauce anytime. Hey, it's a family show. I'm sorry. I tell you, mine was like, remember the old Planet Hollywoods?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And they were huge in like California, Florida, and they opened one in Chicago. So being a Bulls player, I get invited red carpet. I'd never been to a red carpet thing before in my life, so it was the first time I got a good chance to go. So I brought my friend Todd Severance with me. And so I said, hey man, I'm going to this thing. I want you to come with me. I don't want to be by myself, so come on with me, boom, boom, boom. And then, so I had my wife was with me too, so she was with me. And so it was just the three of us. So we come out there and we walk on the red carpet. And then now with the Chicago Bulls States game, people went crazy. I felt like a movie star. Like I'm out there waving. I'm out there, blowing kisses to the crowd, I was really feeling myself, okay? So I get a chance to meet Stallone. I had met him before, and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis, who John kind of looks like. Stinger looks like him. So that was really cool because I got to meet Luke Perry. I got to meet all these people who were investors, Demi Moore, all these people were investors. And the one person I wanted to meet was Sharon Stone. Now, remember, Sharon Stone at that time, she had just did that Michael Douglas movie.
Oh, yeah.
Basic Instinct.
In Basic Instinct.
Oh, yeah.
And oh,
Spicy.
man. And you remember, like, when that movie first came out, like, you know, the reviews were like, hell, you can keep your children away from that movie, blah, blah, blah. So I remember going to that movie, and the theater was sold out. There was nowhere else to sit except for the front of the screen. So yeah. Okay. So I didn't know what was in store for that particular movie. So, you know, my wife's like, I don't want to sit in the front row. I'm like, I don't want to either, but this might be the only time we can see this movie. So I said, well, what the hell? Let's sit up in the front, not knowing what I was going to see. Okay. Then she did that jail scene. They had the white dress on and opened her legs.
Oh, the scratch and sniff.
Oh Lord. Hey, yeah. Yeah, I was like, ooh, Lord.
Stacey, if you were in the front row, I'm pretty sure you deprived the people sitting behind
No.
you.
Because I was like this the whole time. I was looking up. I was like, I was right there. I saw everything. Matter of fact, after I saw that scene, I went to go see it 3 more times to make sure it's what I saw.
Now, did you in the front row?
No, I went in the back. I'm not a pervert. Come on, they forced me to sit there the first time. I'm not gonna be a pervert. I moved to the back.
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Did you have popcorn?
No, shut the. Okay, so anyway, I was really interrupted. So we go to this Planet Hollywood grand opening. So Sharon Stone's there. She's there. So I see her. I'm like, oh my God, Sharon Stone's there. Oh, she's just so gorgeous, da da da. And so I was gonna go up and see her. Her sister was there, and her sister wanted to be introduced to me. And so I got introduced to her sister. And so she's like, I don't really want to meet her. I'm like, is there any way you can get me to your sister? I was kind of rude, but at that time you're starstruck. You want to meet her because the stars weren't going to stay there very long. They were like 30 minutes and they were out just to open up, the grand opening, and they're gone. And I knew this, so I told her, I said, hey, can you introduce me to your sister? I could tell she was a little salty. She's a little salty, but the reason why she was salty, because she wanted some of the king.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. But I was taken.
Yeah.
So my friend Todd's like, Stacey, I think she's hitting on you. I'm not even paying attention because I only see Sharon Stone. I'm not even listening.
With your wife?
Yes, I was. That's why I kept trying to tell her I'm married. But my wife would excuse if it was Sharon Stone, just not someone else.
She was on your list.
She's on my bucket list.
So was her sister's name Bumpy Stone?
You get that one hall pass. Yeah. Sharon Stone was at hall pass.
That's a good topic.
Okay, yeah, it's a good. But it didn't work out that way. Okay, so
you never met her? You no.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet her because her sister kept she had the full court press on me. Like she was like a wet blanket. She just laid on me the whole night. I couldn't get up. Like, where are you going? Like, it's like security. It's like
sounds like that Scotty Williams story.
And then she got away. Sharon Stone got away. She just swapped off and left. And I'm stuck there with the consolation prize.
With Bumpy Stone.
Yeah. She was pretty though. Her sister was pretty much. She wasn't no Sharon Stone though.
So Sharon Stone got away, and we're still left with images of Whispers with Ron Jeremy. That is our celebrity encounters segment here on Off the Wall. Coming up next, we're going to go back to the old Sportsaroo, joined by a special guest, Daron Sutton, the play-by-play voice of the Los Angeles Angels. He's got some stories to tell about Stinger. I don't think Ron Jeremy's going to be mentioned during the conversation.
Don't think so.
I hope not.
Hey, it's rapidly becoming one of our favorite segments on the show. We visit with a friend of the show, and it's also known as guys who used to work with John Walsh. So that's kind of how it's evolved over the weeks.
Hey, man.
How about that for an introduction, Daron Sutton? He is the play-by-play voice of the Los Angeles Angels, kind enough to take a few minutes with us before he has to fly out to get ready to call some more baseball. And, you work with John behind the scenes where he's a producer-director, but what do you think of him taking on this whole Stinger persona and becoming an on-camera talent? This has got to be something special for you, Daron, to watch the evolution of John Walsh.
I'm all in. I'm 100% all in. He sat in the truck for my 5 years and had to listen to my mess and keep me somehow on the tracks. Barely he did, but he's been waiting for this chance. And he's realizing that he's been doing the wrong thing for a long time, that those of us on this side don't do much. So he's realizing, I don't blame him. I mean, as a producer or director, you're doing all the work. We're not doing all the work.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Well, Stacey's the best at giving out nicknames, but John actually gave himself the nickname Stinger because that little growth underneath his bottom lip there. What do you think about a guy giving himself his own nickname? That's off the rails, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. No, he knows that. He knows that that's not how you do it. I mean, gosh, we had multiple times we had players we covered that we didn't like. And I probably should not mention any names on the air.
No, go ahead.
We give them nicknames, and they wouldn't be the guy's nickname, not even close. And Wes Helms played for Milwaukee for a little while. And Wes Helms was from North Carolina, and I decided, and we all decided that his nickname was Big Tex. He's not from Texas, never lived in Texas, has nothing to do with Texas. And if you go to his baseball reference page under Wes Helms, one of his nicknames is listed, Big Tex. We gave it to him. So.
Wow. So is that what you did? A lot of people, you gave them nicknames that didn't actually pertain to actually where they were, or had no connections.
Yeah, there was a home run hitter for the Diamondbacks named Mark Reynolds, and we nicknamed him the Sheriff for no reason. Just called him the Sheriff for no reason. And that's also on Baseball Reference. He was never the Sheriff. He didn't like the nickname. Fans would bring signs, "Yay, the Sheriff!" They all loved it. So I think collectively, you guys need to come up with his nickname. Make sure that
I know that one is. I know that because we had a player, Otto Porter, and I called him Lionel Richie. So every time he'd score, I say, "All night long," and he hated that nickname. But he looked like Lionel Richie. Everybody liked it, but he hated it. So I had to stop calling him Lionel Richie. I had to stop singing Lionel Richie songs. Hello, is it me you're looking for? And he just couldn't stand it. I thought it was a cool nickname.
Yeah, you got to loosen up a little bit, don't you, Stace?
Yeah, you got to loosen up.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny little bit.
You call Otto the disappearing man because you never see him on the court anymore. He's vanished.
Yeah, he didn't play the other night.
Wow.
The checks still come, though, on the 1st and 15th.
Wow, you guys are really ruthless.
Wow.
The guy's not even here to defend himself. Wow.
The voice of Mark, by the way, with that.
Yes.
I don't even live in that.
I always get thrown under the bus. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Otto will be looking for Mark, just like a lot of people.
I got a whole troop of NBA players looking for me. Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond.
They're lining up. They're lining up outside the Sriracha Studios looking for Mark.
We got Costco beef sticks for all of them. Yeah. Send them on their way.
So tell us what it's like, because traveling with the Angels, you get to see a lot of stuff behind the scenes, as we get to see. Is Mike Trout is really as humble as he comes off on television? I mean, for a superstar player, he just seems like he's just a little kid playing a little kid's game.
Yeah, and with protocol, we're not quite as intimate as we were, but yes, Stacey. I mean, he did kind of an open mic Zoom a couple times in spring. I've had some one-on-ones on him with Zoom. And the simplicity, like I have this great opportunity to interview a bunch of young prospects in my day job with Perfect Game. He's very similar in the way he talks about, I've worked on my swing. I've listened to Shohei Ohtani. I've learned how to improve, and I'm almost there. And he was being serious all throughout the spring. I've never heard him reflective on his swing. It's not that he's private about it. Doesn't act like, maybe La Russa did as a manager, that it was like state secrets and it was that important. He just actually never wanted to talk about it. Well, now he's talked about it, and he's like this little kid that's just playing the game. He's God's gift to the game. But yeah, Stacey, you're exactly right. That is 100% who he is.
Joe Madden will always be a hero here in Chicago for leading the Cubs to that World Series championship. How has he been received by the fan base in the Anaheim, Los Angeles area?
Yeah, they missed out last year. Last year was such a dead year. We all know that, right, guys? I mean, 2020 and the Angels were awful last year. None of it fell on Joe's shoulders as it should have. I mean, last year, they love him. They're excited about him. He's very, very well received. I mean, look, I was around in, 00 and 01 when Joe was the bench coach. That's when I cut my teeth as a radio announcer. And Soch was the manager, and Mike Socha, he was his bench coach. And he was beloved then. And so I think fans there are pretty smart. There are a lot of loyal Angel fans out there in a market where it's a Dodger market a lot of the time. So they love Joe. They like his creativeness. I mean, they've seen it already in play. He probably could do whatever he wanted to as far as appearances and earn extra money, but he kind of he runs the show that he runs there. And again, as we get free from COVID, I think we're going to see more of Joe out in the community. Yeah, they love him. They love him. He fits Orange County, like he fits Chicago, like he fits Tampa. Joe's a chameleon like that.
He fits anywhere. There's no question about it. I see the Mark Grace jersey hung behind you. You work with Gracie in Arizona, another popular Cubs player. Tell us a story about working with Gracie.
Well, he was loyal to the end. And you guys, we've all been there, right? And John's been there as a producer, to where if there was a place I wanted to go out on a limb, and maybe it wasn't the best idea, guess who was coming right there with me? He was never gonna be my voice of reason. He was never going to be the big brother because he's a couple of years older than I am. And we had amazing times. That's not a single anecdote, but he was as loyal as there was as a broadcast partner. I'm getting to know one right now, and Mark Gubazov, who's a different style and passionate about the game and wildly loyal. But Gracie was very, very, very loyal. You know, if we went a direction that we decided to go in a broadcast, he was right there with you. He was never looking out, you know, for his image or what people might say. He's like, this is my partner. I'm working with him. Let's go call a game together. So I loved working with Gracie. I mean, I really, truly did. And it was like a day off because he'd leave and do some network games and I'd have other guys and he'd come sit back down. And I think to myself, wow, this is, I'm back into having a day off. So it was a blast. It was a blast. I made him uncomfortable. I forced him down to the field and had him interview guys and he didn't like it, but then he loved it, right? You guys know Gracie. I mean, he didn't like it, then he loved it. He didn't like going to sit down with Albert Pujols in St. Louis, but then he loved it. And so it was fun. I mean, there's not a single second of that time that I didn't love. And when I get let go in 2012, he was one of the first guys to reach out, and to this day stays in touch with me. He's a good man.
Want to ask you about your dad, the Hall of Famer who passed away last year, had such a wonderful Major League Baseball career, a great career as a broadcaster. What was the outpouring like for you and your family when your father passed away? With all the things he's accomplished, all the things he's done in the game, it must have been gratifying to see him honored the way he was.
Boy, you couldn't have summed it up better. I mean, what a great question. Thank you for asking that way, because really my father and I became closer again later in his life, whereas in the middle time, you know, there was kind of a gap. There was no disdain or anything like that, but, you know, younger, married guy, professional, he's doing his thing. So we weren't as close, and then we became closer later in his life, but really, and I knew it was coming. He was very private. He didn't want anyone to know that, you know, he was battling cancer and was near the end. But the amount of people I heard from floored me. I mean, just blew me away. And it was absolutely a way that I reconnected with my dad even more. It was so amazing to hear from teammates, from guys that are in the business, in the industry, to, you know, guys that found my number, to owners of teams that sent, you know, prayer cards, that sent flowers. In a weird way, the most interesting little unique twist, and John will appreciate this, being around young athletes and doing media for Perfect Game, I probably heard from 40 or 50 young future stars that just would text me and say, hey, sorry about your dad. I didn't really know about him. Now I do. And that gave me a little good favor for the future of our sport. So yeah, it was a massive outpouring for sure.
Tell our listeners, because sometimes, you know, they don't understand the pressures of growing up and having a well-known father in sports, a professional athlete. What was it like growing up for you? Was there any pressure, you know, being the son of such a great, you know, Hall of Fame player?
Yeah, he did that one right, Stacy. You know, because whenever I was playing your sport, which I was terrible at, you know, but I was one of the taller guys. I'm 6'5". When you're in high school, I was 6'5", pretty young. And so you can imagine my lack of coordination being a 6'5" sophomore. And so I tried to play basketball. And the moment that it just didn't make sense anymore, I literally did the PA. I enjoyed my high school basketball team. I did the PA. I started, you know, we went to a church-based school, so I'd speak and introduce guests. And he encouraged me as much about that stuff in high school as he did about playing baseball. He was never absent from helping me with baseball. And I played high school and college baseball and a touch in the minor leagues. But I'll always recall he encouraged me about be spontaneous. You're good at it. Your spontaneity is excellent. I don't have that, he'd always say. Ended up having a 20+ year broadcast career, so I think he did. But he'd always encourage me on the things that I look back, Stacy, where I was lucky. I see a lot of dads and moms in amateur sports right now that are missing the mark on that, unfortunately. Not all of them, but he wasn't that guy. He didn't need to live through me, and he didn't try and make me something I was not. The pressure I felt, I think because it was so comfortable, was kind of fun. I kind of not afraid to laugh at myself. I mean, like I'd be in the minor leagues firing it off the backstop, and you'd hear the drunk guy in the third row. Oh, he's got his mom's arm. That's excellent. Yeah, that's great. I loved it. That gave me a smile. That's good stuff. I mean, that's good stuff. So I was lucky. I always knew I wanted to do this, what I do now. I think kind of honestly, Stacy, the playing part of it, I was a legacy, so somebody did me a favor. I mean, I was 6'5", and my last name was Sutton. And they gave me $1,500 to see how it would go. And I milk it, right? I mean, in stories, I pitched in minor leagues. If you watched it, you'd think it was a really rough rendition of pitching.
You had incredible palm ball, right? Didn't you have like a...
Yes!
Yes, the palm ball. More than a fastball. Right. Hey, Daron, you spent so much time as a kid. We've talked about you coming in 82 with the Brewers and your dad pitching here or was in Anaheim or pitching at Yankee Stadium. Can you just share with us, you had so many great stories of being around big league clubs and in clubhouses and moments. Is there any one story that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think there's one that's got a little humor to it, and kind of the 80s baseball front and center when things were evolving. The Yankees were playing the Angels. My father was an Angel, and I was a senior or junior in high school, so I could drive to and from the ballpark. So I got it. That's when I actually started getting baseball, when I was trying to be a big leaguer someday and playing competitive high school baseball. So I had to work in the clubhouse. So if I went, my dad said, "You come hang out, you got to work." So I worked. And pitching against the Yankees, back then, you guys probably remember this, the home team, no matter the sport, but the home team never televised their games because they thought we want fans to come to the arena, to the ballpark, to the stadium. But the Yankees obviously were televising back to New York. Well, in the Angels clubhouse where I was working and my father was pitching, they had the Yankees feed on and some, closed circuit monitors so the home team could watch the game. So about third inning, they pause. You hear Phil Rizzuto, "Holy cow!" and he's making all kinds of noise. And I look up and you see my father pull off a glove, and they got a slow-mo of him rubbing up a baseball, and he's got something right here on his palm, right there on his glove hand palm. And the Yankees back then, when everyone else was doing like 5 camera shows, were doing 7, 8 camera shows. They were all in, right? So they had this replay, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Whatever it is, that's not good. I walked down the tunnel, right? I walked down the tunnel, and my father would sit facing the game. He put a towel over his lap in between while the team hit. He had a towel on his lap and like a shaving kit by him. Who knows what was in that shaving kit, with all due respect. And I looked straight ahead. Like if he's looking out, I'm looking out. I'm right next to him. I looked straight ahead and I said, "Hey, listen, I don't know what's on your hand, but you better get it off because it was just on New York television and they're replaying it over and over again." And he was looking straight ahead and he goes, "Thank you very much." Game goes on. They come in after. The Yankees writers, the beat writers come in. They come in and start asking questions. Well, he wisely put one of those back in the day, when we're all getting vaccinated now, they probably use one of these, but the circular Band-Aid, right, that you never see anymore. Yeah. But it was the circular Band-Aid, and he had put it on his hand, and he said, "Yeah, I just had a blister, and I needed the circular Band-Aid, so that's all it was. That's all it was." Story dies until one night, many years later, I'd say maybe 30 years later, 20 years later, when John Walsh and I had just got done doing a game on Fox. Yeah. John worked with me. I did the game for Fox. My analyst was Lou Piniella. Lou Piniella. We all know Lou Piniella, right? But wait, Lou Piniella back in 86 and 87 was the Yankees manager. So Lou starts to share a story with me that just blows me away. And he says, "You'll never," and we all had fun that night. It was an amazing night. Amazing night with Lou Piniella.
Drinking extra.
Trust me, it was amazing. So yeah, it was like one of the greatest sports nights ever, for us anyway, personally. But so Lou says, "So this thing happens with your dad, and I got to tell you this story. I've been dying to tell you this story." And he proceeds to tell me, "Do you know of a night where they caught something?" I'm like, "Of course I know of a night. I went down and told him it was on his hand." So, well, I was a young manager back then. And back then, there were no cell phones, nor were there phones to the dugout where you could get anything patched in but the bullpen. But there was a phone with a 200 long foot cord from the clubhouse that the clubby could run up and hold up the stairs. "Hey, there's a phone call." So he goes, about the 3rd inning or the 4th inning after it happens, the clubby's like, "Hey, Lou, telephone. He's like, "No, I'm managing. What are you talking about?" And he said, "It's George Steinbrenner. He needs to talk to you." I swear to God, this isn't a Seinfeld episode. He says, "It's George. He needs to talk to you." So he gets on the phone with him and he's like, "What in the hell is going on? I'm seeing something on the field. He's got something on his hand. Go out, get him thrown out of the game right now." Lou's telling me the other side of the story. He's like, "George, I'm managing a game. Leave me alone." Hangs up. An inning later, same thing. Clubby's like, "Sorry to bother you." He's there again. Same conversation occurs, right? Hangs up on him. The 3rd time, he calls him back and he's now livid. And Lou realizes there's nothing I can do. And he said, "I got to figure something out." And he says, "Listen, I got to tell you this right now. I'm not taking him out. I'm not going to get him thrown out." And he says, "Why?" He says, "Because Tommy John is pitching against him right now. He taught Sutton how to do it. He's pitching for us. Rick Rutten, who's pitching for us, Sutton taught how to do it. He's pitching tomorrow night. They all get thrown out." And so to hear both sides of that story when I was a kid and then when I was a grown-up or pretending to be one was such a cool circle of sports life. And it was fun that John was there too. It was such a cool circle of sports life, but that's sports, right? I mean, it comes around and somehow you end up hearing. I felt fortunate that Lou had the other side of the story. It was very fun.
Oh, that's some great
awesome.
inside baseball stuff. Hey, we know you got to catch a plane, but before you go, you got to set us straight on a couple of things involving your buddy Stinger. He claims that he can strike anybody out throwing a wiffle ball. And then secondly, he says that he was nicknamed Little Molly because he was picking grounders in spring training, and one of the players was that what you
Little Molly?
This story gets bigger every week.
No.
So
fantasy camp. By the way, Big D and I did fantasy camp because I worked with Bill. This guy, what were you hitting? Like 667?
I was. I had as many hits as I had torn and pulled muscles though in my leg. I was about 265 at the time.
Did you pitch?
That was good looking at Brewers uniform. But yes, I've seen him. I saw him in the clubhouse. Believe it or not, do the wiffle ball thing. Prince fielder, boom, got him. Take that to the bank. Like I've seen it happen. So
Stacy's going to bat against him this summer. We're going to stage that.
Not good.
Stacey, I'm just telling you, if you can beat Prince. Prince had a pretty good career, right? I mean,
yes.
Prince.
John doesn't throw anything. He throws everything by the face, and you have to literally hitting the fly. Yeah. Fly flying around.
Hey, but Little Molly, he had a number 4 jersey on last week.
Yeah,
for the show.
I brought this wiffle ball in for you. This is the only
Oh my God.
Big D.
He's that guy.
I try to tell these guys that Cecil Cooper was my manager and Don Money was on the bench. And one of the other fantasy campers came up to overheard Cecil Cooper say, who does that guy remind you of out there? He's like, I don't know. He's like, that's Little Molly. So there it is.
Can we go with a better name for Paul Molitor? Can we pick any of the other of his nicknames? So we don't have to call you Little Molly. That's like calling me Little Gracie. I mean, I don't like this.
I don't like the
kind of like a schoolgirl nickname. Maybe we can come like, was Paul Molitor like something tough? Let's go with the tough.
I told King that I have the Daron Sutton 12-6, baby. The 12-6.
And I'm Mickey Mantlin right on out of the park, brother.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Daron, since you're a regular fan of the show, what's your favorite episode? Who's your favorite ex-teammate that Stacy's at?
Episode 11. I love it. Episode 11 was my favorite. Stacey, don't be calling me out on that, Stacey. Can a friend just support a friend? Can a friend just support a friend and say that he hopes it goes well? Just leave it at that. Don't be calling me out.
Stinger's working double overtime. I told you. He's a double agent. Okay.
Well, Daron, thank you so much for joining us and telling some great stories about your dad's career and about working with Stinger over the years. You're a good man for putting up with him that long, and I know you're a close friend of the Walsh family. So thank you so much for joining us here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. This is episode 24. So when you tweet it out, make sure you get the right episode, okay? That is Angels play-by-play broadcaster Daron Sutton. We had a lot of fun today on Gimme the Hot Sauce. I want to thank the great Anthony Spice Adams for telling us some stories about his career. He's an Instagram star, a multimedia star. Make sure you follow him, and we look forward to joining you again next week. Stacy, take us home.
Drive home safe. Baby. Saucy.